Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really serious crisis that's brewing in Taiwan's education system. We're talking about classrooms that are at risk of emptying out. And the cause? Well, it's surprisingly complex, and it all started with a well-intentioned effort to protect children.
Okay, so let's get right into it with the big question that's on everyone's mind. Why are so few young people in Taiwan choosing to become teachers these days? It's not just one simple thing. It's actually a whole mix of factors that have made the profession, well, a lot less appealing than it used to be. 92%. Just take a look at that number. I want you to keep it in your head as we go through this, because it's a huge piece of the puzzle and it really points to a system that is under a massive amount of strain. Yep. That's the percentage of middle school teachers who say they feel overworked. And it's mostly because of a new curriculum and just a mountain of administrative tasks. But this isn't just about teachers working long hours. It's really a symptom of a much, much deeper problem that's created a perfect storm for burnout. So you're probably wondering, where did all this pressure come from? Well, the root of the problem actually comes from a place you would probably never expect, a global initiative that was designed to protect children. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. To really get what's going on, we first have to talk about something called the Convention on the Rights of the Child, or CRC for short. It's this landmark international human rights treaty, and it has a truly noble goal: to set out and protect the rights of every single child all around the world. And Taiwan absolutely embraced these principles. Back in 2011, the government updated its child protection laws. And then in 2014, it passed an act to officially bring the CRC into law. The intention here was crystal clear: create a safer, more protective world for kids. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the paradox we're talking about. The goal was absolutely to protect children better, but one of the biggest side effects has been this huge increase in pressure and risk for teachers. It's a classic case of good intentions having some serious unintended consequences. So let's get into the specifics of it. How exactly are these changes hitting teachers in their day-to-day lives? How do these policies, which were meant for good, end up creating such a pressure cooker environment for educators? Okay, this table really breaks it all down. You can see three main pressures hitting teachers. First up, you've got legal risk. With stricter oversight, teachers can get tangled up in really long investigations over complaints, which leads to massive stress and way less job security. Then there's financial pressure. A really strict ban on tutoring or any other kind of side job means their income is pretty much fixed. And finally, the workload, which we already talked about, is just leading to total burnout. And here's the kicker. These pressures don't just exist on their own. They all feed directly into each other. You've got this mix of legal, financial, and workload stress that's created this dangerous feedback loop, and it's just steadily draining the life out of the teaching profession. And here's what that vicious cycle actually looks like. It starts with all that high pressure and risk. That leads to step 2. Teachers burn out, and they leave. So then, fewer new people want to apply for these super high-stress jobs. That creates staff shortages, which, you guessed it, increases the workload on the teachers who are left. And boom, we're right back at the beginning, but the pressure is even worse now. Now, it's really important to point out that while the specific causes in Taiwan are pretty unique, this struggle to attract and keep teachers, that's a challenge that countries all over the world are facing. Taiwan is definitely not alone in this. So, let's just compare for a second. On the left, you've got Taiwan's very specific challenges, driven by that administrative burden from the CRC and the strict ban on outside work. But now, look at the right. While they also have issues with teacher anxiety, places like the US and the UK are trying to be proactive. They're introducing things like teacher support programs, counseling, more work flexibility, real solutions that might show a path forward. So, this brings us to what we can actually do about it. The goal isn't to roll back protections for children, absolutely not. It's all about finding a new, smarter balance, one that keeps kids safe without sacrificing the very people we trust to educate them. A huge first step would be to make the investigation process more fair. I mean, imagine being a teacher with a complaint just hanging over your head for months. The psychological burden is enormous. So establishing a dedicated expert team to handle these cases would make sure they're not only fair, but also resolved quickly, cutting down on all that stress.
Next up, you've got to address the financial strain. Allowing some kind of regulated, non-conflicting part-time work could make a world of difference. We're not talking about letting teachers tutor their own students, but just giving them the same kind of economic freedom to pursue other things that most professionals have.
And of course, we have to tackle burnout head-on. That means taking a serious look at the curriculum demands and cutting down on the administrative overload. But it also means investing in teachers' well-being with things like accessible mental health support and sabbaticals, giving them the resources and the rest they need to recharge.
And look, if you want to attract new people, teaching has to be a competitive career choice again. That means boosting salaries, for sure, and elevating the social status of the profession. It also means using smart incentives like extra pay to draw good teachers to rural areas or subjects like science and math where the shortages are really bad.
And finally, you have to think long-term. You can't just fix the problem for the teachers who are here now. You have to build a sustainable pipeline for the future. That means proactively funding new, modern training programs to attract that next generation of talented, passionate educators. You know, at the end of the day, this is not a zero-sum game. This isn't about choosing between protecting students and supporting teachers. They are not mutually exclusive. The real challenge is to build a smarter, more balanced system where both can actually thrive. And that leaves us with a question that really impacts the future of education everywhere. How do we build a system that fiercely protects our children without losing the dedicated, passionate teachers they so desperately need to succeed?